I am worried. I think it's important that the EU sends a strong signal that the EU is open for trade. And we've got to remember that there are many companies that will want to trade with Canada and continue to trade with Canada, and it will be of benefit to them. I mean, think, for example, of the clothes sector and the shoe sector. Companies from Europe selling those products won't face such high import taxes. That means their products will be cheaper and they'll be more competitive. That will mean more jobs back here in the EU. I think it's important that we send a strong signal, so let's hope that we can resolve this problem. I think the other Prime Ministers will have heard various speculations about what's happening in the UK, and I think what they want to do now is hear from Theresa May herself about the situation in Britain, what's going to happen next. And I think that's really what it is. It's a 5-minute information point at dinner tonight. But what's clear is that at the end of the day, we need a good relationship between the EU and the UK. As a Belgian colleague said to me the other day, the UK is an island, it's not a boat, it's not going to sail away. And even after we leave, we want the UK and the EU to have a strong relationship. It's in the British interest to have a strong EU, and it's in the EU's interest to have a strong Britain as partners.
If the European Commission had stuck to a purely trade agenda that is lowering tariffs, that is market access, that is technical standards, CETA would have been adopted without any problem. But they insisted maniacally to add investor protection things that are actually also of member state competence. And actually, why do we need extra investor protection between Canada and Europe? That is, two jurisdictions where you have rule of law and functioning jurisdictions. If the European Union would be smart, they would say, okay, we have these arbitration courts, we have this interpretative declaration, there are legal doubts on these things, let's ask the European Court of Justice and let's wait until the ECJ will say what it thinks about these things. But curiously, no one wants to go to the court. No one wants to ask the judiciary power, independent power and pillar of democracy, to give its interpretation of law. I don't know what flexible solidarity is. Either you show solidarity or you don't, but it's not something that is optional. So that's one thing. But what I have to realize is that European migration policy is actually made of two words today. It is pushback and it is containment. Basically, we are pushing back people coming to us and we are making sure we are bribing basically states that are far from being democracies into making sure that no one will set foot on European soil. I find this totally disgusting. I mean, we are one of the richest continents on this planet. I've heard some time ago President Juncker and Vice President Timmermans saying we would need legal ways of access, of entry into Europe. There's no mention of that any longer.